Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today, joined by
Camelworks.
Yep, you're going to cut off that intro. That's
I was,
good stuff.
sorry. I've said Lone Vault Wonder the last 3 times we've done this, so
Yeah, it lost
going in
its sizzle.
strong. Going in strong.
Anyway, we're talking about Fallout 76. I know you love those online elements, so I was like, sit down in my hotel room, join me for this commentary.
I want to plug straight into the Matrix, Matty.
Yeah.
Plug that Ethernet straight into my crotch area and just download 76. Oh.
Yes. Anyway, Todd Howard recently did an interview. He talked about main story details. He also described how nukes work, how respawning works in Fallout 76. It's really hard to get a grasp on these types of topics being involved in Fallout discussions. Usually these are things that are shoo-ins. We know the story. We don't worry about respawning, multiplayer elements. So I'm still adjusting. Let's start off with what he had to say about the main story. He said pretty much that it's about what happened to these vault dwellers in 76, what's happening out in the world, the creatures, how to deal with those. They've also mentioned in the past that the Overseer gives you objectives. Furthermore, there's side quests. He said there are repeatable side quests, and then there's events. How do you feel about this main quest line, events, repeatable side quests? You getting a case of Preston Garvey here?
I am.
Oh.
I can... Oh, man, I feel a settlement in my bones. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know. I don't know how deep... Considering there's no NPCs apart from this Overseer, I don't know if you consider it an NPC or like a quest hub.
Yeah,
you know, like the notice board in Witcher. It's kind of like that. It's just this thing that gives you quests.
Because that's the thing is when he started talking about the creatures and who you had to take out and how to deal with those is how he said it. I thought instantly, oh god, the Overseer is gonna say, go to this location, kill 5 Scorchers.
Yeah. Get 10 bear heads, come back.
Yeah, and I got kind of nervous at the thought of that because if there's no NPCs, the story can only be so self-driven. If it's just coming from you and this Overseer who's pretty much a robot, it sounds like.
Yeah, it does sound like that. And I feel like, I don't know, with single player, the incentive for questing is to experience an awesome story.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's not going to be here. Mm-hmm. I don't know, it's very I feel like the incentive is getting better than other players.
Yes, the loot. And part of that would be... Part of that, I feel, is sort of in the single-player element, too, to show the character you've built, you know your unique weapons in all the Bethesda Game Studios games. That's, like, the best part, right? And,
yeah, there's 3 unique weapons in Fallout 4.
Yeah. You know, they all just have different names. And so I look at those, and I love getting those because it feels like a true reward. But if it goes down to Destiny type of stuff, where in Fallout 76 you finish an event, and then you get this cool 10mm pistol.
Yeah, I really hope it doesn't come down to, like, the play that grinds the most is the best.
I agree with that. I hope it strikes a balance that kind of rewards both sides of the fence. But overall, those are some new details we got on the main quest line, how that's going to work. What caught my interest more were nukes. First off, they're not permanent. So you can drop a nuke. Yeah, you can drop a nuke on an area, and then it'll eventually go back to normal.
I mean, obviously, gameplay is different to real life. I feel like that's better because my big worry was if you build some sick stuff, you spend like a month building some cool base, and then some dude's like, you know what, I'm gonna nuke that guy's base. And you're like, right. Well, all of my, like, the incentive to build is gone because it's just gonna get destroyed. So in some sense, I'm like, that's cool, you get to rebuild it. In another sense, I'm like, that's the fakest.
Yeah. It's like you almost have to look past it to make it work.
Yeah, I feel like gameplay fun overrides realism.
Yeah, definitely. It's also that Todd said you could repair areas. So I wonder if that means if you're building in a certain area, it gets nuked. Can you just start the repair process on that? I don't know necessarily how that works.
Yeah, that's I don't know. It's such a strange. It's an alien concept. Even to him when he's trying to explain it, every time he opens his mouth, it's like conflicting information. Or I'm like, dude, you've just opened a can of worms. I don't know what you mean by that.
Yeah, one of my things has always been, let's say I'm building in some area. I sign off. Someone nukes that area. I sign back on. They say your settlement gets placed right down where it was last left. And so I wonder to myself, how's my world going to load in when other players are interacting with the world space? Am I going to only be put in a server with the same people who have the same destroyed areas as me? There's, like you said, that conflicting information where I'm like, I don't get it.
Yeah, for sure. When he's like, yeah, you can play solo. It's like, oh, we can play like a single player version. Then he's like, it's always online. I'm like, what are you talking about, dude?
Yeah.
I feel like he needs like a 12-hour interview where he just lays everything
Absolutely.
straight.
Or just an hour's worth of gameplay to really understand what's going on.
That's true. I'm very surprised they don't have it here at E3. We've got Rage 2, which is coming out 6 months after Fallout 76.
Yeah.
And we can play that. That's fine.
And Rage 2 played really well, too.
I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, so it's kind of strange that Fallout 76 is missing.
They don't want the public to play it and criticize it. They just want to wait till release. Like how they made review copies a day before release. They don't want it in the hands of anyone but themselves.
Yeah.
Especially with something big and new like this where it's actually scary. And even the interview with Jeff Keighley and Todd Howard, Todd looked nervous.
Yeah.
Genuinely, he had like that kind of nervous smirk.
Yeah,
Like,
I feel because they presented it as a new Fallout game and then people got something different. I think if they approached it as this is a spin-off, this is something different, I think expectations would have been tempered a little bit more, and therefore there wouldn't be this kind of confused reaction and people would just be like, all right, just hit me with it when you're ready. Now we're left waiting for the beta, which once again, that's crazy to say about a Fallout game. And furthermore, I want to add this on with the nuke part, is that it turns out when you nuke different areas, because there's 6 districts, and so each one has their own enemy types, and then when you nuke a certain area, that unlocks this whole high-level area, and then their own unique enemy types. So do you think that might be an incentive for the player to keep playing into the late game where they can go to a high-level area on its own right, nuke a certain location, fight a brand new enemy type, and then maybe get that cool loot that we were talking about, the unique weapon of some kind?
Yeah, that's definitely an incentive. My biggest worry is that they'll have to keep creating new content for it. And I'm like, how much of BGS's resources is that going to consume?
That's very true.
Permanently.
Yeah.
Like, if you have an online thing, you have to, like World of Warcraft constantly comes out with updates. Constantly.
Yes.
And it's like, how much of BGS is that going to consume? Therefore, how much slower is everything else going to become? That's my biggest worry. It's not even about Fallout 76. It's about, when do I get Elder Scrolls 6, you bastards?
It's also, in the documentary, they mentioned how they know that online games live or die on how quickly they get content out, and they say they don't know how 76 is going to go at launch, where maybe everything will be good, and they'll see what people are enjoying and then make content for that. So they have this plan, but it's almost like, because it's so new to them, they've never done this before, that they don't know how to market it, how to talk about it. Just like, hey, it's fun, just play it, you'll get it. But that's not enough for most folks out there.
Yeah, that's very true. It's like with Elder Scrolls Blades. I saw it, I was like, meh, and I played it, I'm like, I get it now. It kind of makes sense. It like, in my hands, I get it.
Yeah,
I get
and it
what
was
this
actually
is.
pretty fun.
And there's kind of nothing that he could have said which would have sold it to me. So I feel like Fallout 76 will probably be similar. But in terms of, making videos about lore and using console commands, and as soon as that's just not in the picture at all, I'm instantly worried. I mean, that's just the natural response, really.
Yeah, there's private servers. I don't know if that means that you can just go on your own server, start using console commands and stuff. Because I know, for example, you were talking about the stories and how that's going to work. There's going to be like holotapes. There's going to be terminals. That's where the lore and the side quests and stories pick up. So I do wonder if people like yourself, creators like yourself, who love to go in that extra level deeper, are going to still be able to make that type of content. Because that's a big part. A lot of what they've talked about in interviews, they're not talking about like the sales of Fallout 4, what the general consumers want. They're always talking about like the fans like us who sit behind the microphones, or the people watching these videos who are like the hardcore Fallout fans.
It's the only time he mentioned the private servers when he was talking about mods, and he's like, of course, like at some point we'll give you private servers that you can mod, and I feel like it's going to be modding's going to be at least external mods will be exclusive to the private server, because if I install a mod that makes everyone's naked, what does that mean for the people I'm playing with? Are their characters naked now?
Are
they not naked?
It's strange.
It's like conflicting files with the same server kind of thing.
Yeah, because you're kind of saying like, does it apply to the server or does it apply to
for sure.
person to person?
Well, even in that documentary they dropped yesterday, there was a lot of that. It's like, do we attach certain scripts to the player? Do we attach it to the cloud? It's a very confusing thing.
Yeah, and with that, and this is just 5 months from launch, you look at it and think, okay, this could be a real disaster come launch. Not in the terms of the game itself. The game could be fun. It's like, technically, it could just be a complete disaster.
Yeah, for sure. Especially when their engine has always been single player.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were talking about it again. They're just going back. They're like, do we attach the script, like the quest script, to the player? What do they call it? They refer to it as Atlas.
Yes,
because the
player's
player,
the Atlas.
like the world balanced on the player's shoulders, and now there's 12 players or 24 players or 36, and it's like just in terms of script, like the first 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes of that
pretty crazy
documentary
stuff.
was just heavy tech stuff, and I was looking at my friend like, I don't know what I'm watching. I don't know what they're talking about.
Amen to that, man.
But I feel like if they make a 45 documentary and the first 50 minutes is all tech stuff, it
Yeah.
must be a massive component of like the challenges they faced when making it.
Oh, for sure. They talked about taking the Quake netcode and putting it into Fallout 76.
Yeah.
I'm just like, dude, that's some like efficient shit right there.
It's like a Terminator 3 plot line. Like it's just some weird ass stuff.
Anyway, that's all we got from the interview from Todd Howard. Just some story details as well as what's going on with the nukes in Fallout 76. A lot of this sounds like it's work in progress, so I imagine even this information we're getting right now might be subject to change by the time after the beta. So it's going to be an interesting ride for sure.
Actually, a lot of things Todd was like, I don't want to say because we don't actually know yet.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, what the...
It's an
Come on,
interesting
Todd.
process. Like I said, this is all new to them, and I wonder if that's why they're very hesitant, because it changes day to day, and they don't really know how the reception's going to be. I think they need to get the beta out ASAP. That's my personal solution.
Yeah, I feel like the sooner they get like server stress tests and just like a player base feedback,
Yeah.
the sooner they'll be able to start patching weird things.
Absolutely, man. I mean, I can't wait because I really want to try it out, but also like you and many others, I'm just infinitely curious about where this game's
Yeah,
heading.
for sure. Well, in that sense, I feel like the sooner we get our hands on, we can kind of readjust to it and get like sense of what we're going to be dealing with, because especially with their like day one review copies.
Yes.
When you're like, how can I professionally make videos on this game when I don't know what I'm dealing with?
Yes, sir.
I don't know what I'm making videos on yet.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. It can be stressful as both a creator and a fan. So this will be an interesting road to Fallout 76 for sure. I'm just here for the ride. Let's see how it goes.
All right,
kick you-
let's
put your
team up.
Yeah.
Me,
We're
you,
gonna
Lone,
fist pound for this one.
and
Yeah.
who's the fourth member? There's four team.
Could tag in Connor. No, you don't want to tag him.
No, that's
Fuck Connor.
Oxhorn. What are you up to, man?
Yeah, right.
Let's get him in. Juicehead.
Juice that? Yeah, sure. Fuck it. Why
All
not?
right, let's do it. Let's slay, conquer, and dominate.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me, my long-haired friend.
Pleasure.
I almost called you long-headed.
That's fine.
Anyway, we will catch you guys next time. Be sure to check out Camel's channel. It's linked in the description down below. Other than that, stay sexy, stay active. I love you all.
Peace out there.
Oh, there you go.